and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is Chantal Caissie. Welcome to the Sanctuary.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. It was a nice quiet weekend, so kind of perfect, nice long Easter weekend. So yeah, how are you?
Same here. Although, oh my God. So, there's this Justice League Snyder's,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, so I decided to watch it. I've slept off twice now. Like, I guess when I start watching it, I'm tired. So, like, but the first time, because it starts in parts, it's like part
Right.
one. So I finished part one, and then part two started, and then I slept off, and then I started part two again. And I got to where Wonder Woman meets Batman because she now knows, oh man, shit is
Right.
about to go down. Slept off again. So the next time I'll start watching, I know where to start.
Right. You did
Hopefully,
4 hours.
yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully this time I'll get to see. And the worst part is now I don't even have any comparison. Like, I can't remember what Justice League was like. Like, I don't have any clue. I can't. All I remember was that Superman was dead. Then he came back. Then he fought them, and then they killed that guy or something. And then they were like boxes or
There's
something.
there's too many movies. I find that I start getting like so confused about what's going on and like which universe is what and like which characters are supposed to be hanging out with which ones. Like, yeah, it gets so complicated.
Yeah, yeah. What I like is like I love TV shows because
Yep.
even though they are longer, they kind of space it out. Although, oh my god, there's a show. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's new. I think
Okay.
it's on NBC or I don't know, one of those channels. Anyway, it's called Debris. And
Okay.
the whole premise of this show is that, like, maybe some ship crashed on Earth, and then, it puts its debris all over the world, all over North America, I guess. And then each debris has like a power of some kind. So one debris might make you phase through walls, one debris might clone people, one
Interesting.
debris, you know.
Yeah.
The premise is
Right.
interesting, but it's so not good at all. Like, it's
Right.
so bad. Okay, so what makes it bad is that I think first off, I don't know if you've seen the show Fringe. It's
No,
old.
no.
Oh
I've
man,
heard of
that
it.
show
I've
is
heard of it.
so good, right?
Okay.
So the guy that made Fringe is kind of responsible for this show. So it's like, you know, it should be good
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's in his genre also. So he like, it's kind of like drama, kind of sci-fi, kind of like, thriller type stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's this girl, her father is supposed to be dead, but he's alive and he might be working with the bad guys. So like, it has all the right
Yeah.
ingredients, but it's just not mixed right.
Yeah.
So I think, to me, if I was given this thing to do, what I would have done is like, it's a story, right? And like, I always expect people that are watching or reading or whatever thing I do, like, they are super smarter than me and they'll figure it out. But you kind of have to give them clues, man.
Yeah.
You just don't, like, so in this world, everything has already happened. The fucking alien ship has landed, and like they've already created this agency, and these people already have ways to fix this thing, and they can touch this debris without that. Like, the show they should have made is how they figured all this
Yeah.
stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
that is the show they should have made. Now all this thing is figured out, and like we're just watching people like, oh, I know how to take care of this, and like, anyway, sorry, I didn't
No,
mean to
right.
rant, but like, the premise of the show was so good, but
Right.
they killed it.
Have you ever heard of or watched the show Misfits?
No.
So it's a British show. I think it was from BBC, maybe. I mean, like BBC is the only like show like channel that I know of in the UK, but
Mm.
it was about these teenagers who there's a giant storm and they all get hit. I think it was lightning or something like that, and they all get these different powers. and they realize that that happens kind of all over the world, and like other people in the
Oh.
UK also have these weird powers, and like some of the powers are really weird. Like one of them is the ability to control milk. Like super weird, trying to figure out how that's relevant or like how that's going to be interesting. But then you realize that
Mm.
that person is able to like make someone eat, cheese and then mess up their insides because they can control the cheese that's inside
Control
of them and
milk.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's actually really, really good, and it kind of sounds a little bit like that one, but like more interesting. And it's a little bit older. It ended probably like 10 years ago or something now, maybe less, but it's good. I would definitely watch it.
You know what? And this is not to say like US versus English stuff, but the British make better shows. They
Oh yeah.
just do.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about North American shows is that they just want to stretch it. Like you can tell that story in 6 episodes. We don't need fucking 24 episodes.
Right.
Like now we're just putting things we don't need. Like fucking
Totally.
like there's a show called Broadchurch, and I
Yes,
think
I've
it's
heard of
like
it.
maybe 4 or 5 episodes, but it's so good. But you know what happened? Then they said, "Oh, let's try to make an American thing."
Right.
And then they did a second season, and the second season was crap. Like, what the fuck? Like, the show
Yeah.
is done. Just leave it right
Yeah.
fucking there, man.
That's why I
Another
like
thing.
Fleabag.
Oh,
Fleabag, 2 seasons, 6 episodes each. Perfect. Like that's all you need. That's all you like. You get the characters, you get the stories. It doesn't get drawn out. You don't get bored
yeah,
with it. Like it's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. And another show, another like British show. Well, I think this one is more Australian or something, or
Okay.
maybe New Zealand. Anyway, it's called it's something about lies, but it's also like 4 or 5 episodes.
Okay.
It's so good. It's so good. And then they made the American version, and it's so crap. It's so crap. It's so crap because it's like, I don't know, 10, 15, 16 episodes. What? We don't need this shit. Like, we
No.
don't need it.
No.
Like, the story is contained. Let's just. Oh, I didn't bring you here to come and rant about shows. So sorry
No, it's
about
okay.
that. But
I'm off work right now, so I've been watching a lot of TV, so I can talk a lot about TV right now. I
oh,
like
what shows are you watching now?
So I'm trying to finish a bunch of shows that I started, and so just because I'm a completionist, like I like being able to tick things off a list. And so I'm trying really hard right now to get rid of all the shows that I'm like halfway through or like a third of the way through and kind of abandoned. So watching Dawson's Creek, and that is an example. There's like 24 episodes per season. They're all an hour long. It's taking forever to get through. I'm watching Doctor Who, so a British show, awesome,
Yeah.
very fun. I just finished the Twin Peaks Return,
Oh
which
yeah,
was
yeah.
like it was a slog. Like, man, it was a hard time to get through. I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan. I had a band back in the day, and we were named after Twin Peaks. We like did merch that was Twin Peaks themed. We did our album was Twin Peaks themed, and I really loved the show. So I was so psyched when they did a return of it. And
Mhm.
I think I abandoned it after 6 episodes because, like, I mean, I know David Lynch is like weird and abstract, and that's
Mhm.
part of his charm, but it was like too disjointed even for me. Like I was having a really hard time, so I took a break for like two
Mhm.
years and then came back and finished it all last week. And the latter half was definitely a lot better. Like it started connecting and like making more sense, and it got
Yeah.
really interesting, and then I liked it a lot. But yeah, so I've been binging a lot of shows, a lot of movies too. So
Which
yeah.
movies?
So I'm trying, here's another like me trying to be a completionist. I'm trying to watch all the top 100 movies on the AFI list of the American Film Institute.
Yeah.
Um,
What are some of the films on that list that you've seen?
there's some, I mean, so there's some good ones, like you've got like Citizen Kane is number one. You've got,
You know what? Pause. You continue, but like I've not seen Citizen Kane, so maybe I shouldn't talk. But like I don't fucking get it. Like I've tried. I don't get it. Like
yeah,
everyone is like, this is the best cinema in the thing, and I'm
yeah.
like,
I will say there are some movies on there. Like so the list was last updated in 1997, I think.
mhm.
And I'm looking forward to a revised list because there are some movies on there. I don't think they should be. I like Ben-Hur is number 100, I think, or maybe
Oh.
99. I hope
Is
that
that
I
the one with the chariot race and
Yeah,
stuff?
it is. But
Okay.
that chariot race is like a 5 minute part of a 3.5 hour movie. And like, dude, it is not worth the rest of it. It was such a slog. It took so long to get through and get going. And like, I didn't care about anything that was going on. But there was
Yeah.
been some really good movies in there too. Like there was Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf,
Mm.
which I had never seen before that I really liked. Sunset Boulevard, All About Eve. Like I like a lot of those older, like 1950s, 1940s films.
Mm.
But there's a lot of westerns, and I'm not huge in westerns. There's a lot of
Is this
westerns.
film Ailey Confidential in the list?
I so I
If
know
it's
that
not
I
in the
watched
list, then that list is wrong.
I know that I watched that in the last 2 years, but I can't remember if I watched it because it's on the list or not. I don't think it is, but I remember
Oh
liking
man.
it.
It's so good. It's
Yeah,
so good, 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 good.
yeah,
It's so good. It's so good. It's really good.
yeah.
Also in the last, like, if you wanna like a show to watch, I can't remember Damon Lindelof, right? If there's a show that has his name on it, watch it.
Okay.
I don't know how he does it, but like in the last, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. So like in that time, one of the best shows was Lost, and he was
Right.
on it. Like he was one of the people on Lost. But Lost, I don't know, whatever. Okay,
Got
cool.
a little weird.
And then he took some time and then he made a show called The Leftovers.
Okay.
It's so good. Oh my god, this show is so good. So like the premise of this show is basically, like some an event happened and some people just disappeared,
Right.
and then some people are now left over,
Right.
and then they're trying to figure out what happened. So there's a government agency, and then anyway, but the main story is following this sheriff of this small town that sees things and dies and wakes up. And then there's also this cult that believes that they call themselves the guilty remnants. I remember one time the show was cancelled or something, or was supposed to be cancelled, and then people that love the show dress like the guilty remnants to like protest. And the guilty remnants just wear all white, mostly overalls,
Okay.
and just smoke, and they don't talk, and they just write on pads. It's so
Okay.
good. I know it doesn't sound good, but if you watch it, it's good. And then that one, finished, had his conclusion, and the guy took a break. And then I found out he was gonna make out a little show called Watchmen. Now I don't know if you know
Right.
like Watchmen. Watchmen is
Oh
this
yeah,
graphic
I have the
novel.
comic.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone is like, and everyone was like, oh man, this guy is gonna kill it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, like in the last, I don't know, maybe 3, 5 years, that's one of the best shows I've seen. And
Oh,
one thing I also like about it is that he's saying he's not gonna make a season two. Like he will not make it, but if HBO wants to, they can make it with someone else, because the show is so self-contained. It's like its own thing. You don't
right,
need any, like he ended it that they could continue, but you don't need anything. It's so
right.
good.
So
Anyway,
here's a question for you, just to like
yeah,
stay on the TV train.
yeah,
And I saw this on Twitter the other day, and it made me laugh because I think that it's pretty universal. Like, did you watch The Walking Dead?
yeah. I did to
When
for a
did you?
point.
Yeah, when did you quit? It was like, when
I
did
don't know.
everyone quit The Walking Dead? Because I feel like no
Yeah,
one watches it anymore.
yeah. I don't watch it anymore. I think after what was his name? The guy that killed everybody. So the season was about to end, and then he got them. He's not the governor. The next bad guy,
Oh, with
Negan.
the bat? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
After him, I don't know. I don't think I watched it.
Yeah. That's around when I quit too. I tried, man. I really did. I'm like, I don't like abandoning shows, especially when I put so much work into it. It's like the sunk
Mm.
cost fallacy, like you put,
It's like,
like I did,
yeah,
like you put so much money into a car
you're
and
just
then
gonna
to buy a
keep
new
at
one,
it.
like how much money have I sunk into this? That's how I
Yeah,
felt about The Walking Dead. I was like, I've put so many hours of my time in
yeah.
the show. I don't want to just get rid of it, and I couldn't do it anymore. It just like it would come to like Sunday night, and I'd be like, oh man, like another one. I'm like, when does the season end so I get a few months off and I don't have to like watch anymore?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I stopped kind of around that time too.
You know the funniest thing? I actually jumped on the Fear the Walking Dead.
Okay.
And I watched that one and I tried and it was just full. That boy was just whining. He was just whining. Like, how do you whine that much anyway? And then he dies and like, oh, okay, finally he died. And then, they bring people from The Walking Dead to Fear the Walking Dead and then they kill the lead. Oh man. Anyway, no, I don't watch it anymore. It's sad.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does. I will say though, so I
Yeah.
used to run a pinball league in town, and
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
the Walking Dead pinball machine
Yeah.
is super fun. Like if you get a chance to go play a Walking Dead machine,
Yeah.
do it up because it's a really fun time. It's a fun machine to play. There's like what I think at least makes a good pinball machine is
Mm-hmm.
like a game that you can easily pick up what the rules are as, a beginner. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the machines that are newer now are so complicated. It's like you have to hit 7 things and then that'll give you the chance to hit another third thing and then that like you have to hit that 5 times and then it'll unlock this other thing and like you can use 5 different characters. Like this is just like you got to kill some zombies. Like that's,
Yeah.
these are the like red dots. Hit those red dots, you get to kill some zombies. You go up some loops and stuff and like there's some repeatable shots. Like that's what I really find satisfying is like if you can just like keep going up a ramp over and over again, like that is a fun time because it's all physics, right? Like it's a little bit of
Holy
the
shit.
physics of just like figuring out what angle and what speed your ball has to hit a certain, I don't know, portion of the play field to give
Yeah.
you what you need. And it's just like when you finally get that I don't know, that skill of being able to aim from the flipper and like get the ball the place that you actually want to go to, like that
Mm-hmm.
is so fun. Like,
Okay, so you want to know something funny?
yeah.
I was 2 days old when I found out that you just don't, flip the ball around. Like, I didn't know there was a strategy to it. I thought you just
Yeah.
send it up till it falls, till it doesn't come back anymore. I didn't know there was a whole strategy to this
Oh
thing.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, the goal of the game is to not let the ball drain. That's the
Yeah.
most simple thing. But like all the different machines have a different goal. Like something is some of the older machines are just like hit a couple targets as much as you can. The newer machines are like fifteen thousand
Had no
dollars and
fucking
like
idea.
and they're all like digital, right? So you can do like there's some cool there's one that I really like that is the Aerosmith game. So it has
Mm.
different songs and each song has a
Oh.
different goal that you have to do. So you have to try and get all the songs and do all the goals that each song has. And it's
Mm-hmm.
everything from like you have to get the ball into like a hole basically like each time 3 times or something, and then another one you have to hit a certain like little bauble on the game, like things like that. So it's actually really interesting. So here's a cool fact, like if you're ever at a party and you want to like pull out a cool little like nugget of information.
Mm-hmm.
Pinball was illegal for a really long time, especially in America and in Canada, because
Why?
yeah, so because it was tied to the mob and gambling and money laundering.
How?
So
Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, so it's wild, right?
This
So
is a TV show. I swear to
yeah,
God.
no, totally. Because so what they basically associated it with the mob and money laundering because people could just put as much money into a machine and it's
And you
not
just take it out.
regulated, right? So that's how they could just like
Ah.
shuffle the money around. And they also,
Oh.
like you just did, like didn't realize that it was a game of skill and not just a game of chance. So in the 70s in New York, they went all the way to the state Supreme Court to
Mm.
prove that pinball was a game of skill and not a game of chance. So they brought
Ah.
this guy out, put 5 machines in front of him, and made him call the shots, like kind of like in pool, right? He'd be like
What?
the corner
I'll
pocket,
do
like
this.
orange, whatever. But he would do that, but with the pinball, and he'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna go up this ramp, and then I'm gonna hit this target." And he did it the whole time. And
What
so
the fuck?
they legalized pinball in New York because of this guy. And
What
so
the fuck?
he has,
What?
oh,
Wait, there has to be a documentary of this. I need to watch this already.
right? There's some interesting documentaries about pinball, but a
Holy
lot of them
shit!
are just like showing how nerdy the
No,
guys
no,
are
no.
for
This
it.
is an interesting story. Like, it used to be illegal until these guys like, wait, I can actually do it, make
Oh
it
yeah.
do what I want.
Yeah, and like so
Okay.
cool. Some other cool things. So his sons, he has two sons. They now run the International Flipper Pinball Association, so the IFPA. So they're in charge of basically like a lot of different states and provinces and things like that have leagues, and they do
Holy
like
shit.
a tournament every month, and then they have a national tournament. And so we would have.
You're blowing my mind
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah, I know. It's like a really intricate like group of hobbyists. So like in Halifax, oddly enough, we have a huge pinball like group of people. Like we have a really good community of pinball players, and we have one guy who like his day job is he's a pilot, and he's like a long range pilot. Like he does like Toronto to Japan.
Oh, juice. Okay.
So he can only fly about 9 days a month or something. I mean, obviously he's probably not doing that a whole lot right now, but usually he would only be allowed to do like 9 days a month because of all the jet lag and needing to sleep and everything. So on his off time when he's not being a pilot, he actually runs basically the only company in the world that reproduces playfield. So a playfield on a pinball machine is the actual like wood that you're playing on, like the wood that the ball is like rolling on. That's a playfield. And he runs basically the only company in the world that reproduces playfield. So like he buys the rights to the artwork, and he has artists like doing up all the new playfields so that you can replace them when the ball kind of scratches it off.
Okay, you really should introduce us because it's super interesting. Like,
Yeah,
like
right?
you know, when you said, "Oh, I used to run the pinball league," I just thought it was an excuse to get your friends together to drink.
No,
This is
no, I
like
mean,
really
listen,
serious stuff. Like, you know, you do that, but like I didn't know, you know, you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna score 20,000. Like, I was wondering what the fucking score was reading. Like, all I'm doing is just sending the ball to eat stuff.
yeah.
I don't know what it's doing. Holy shit, I didn't know there was skill involved.
There's a whole thing, and like if you get all the goals that you're supposed to have, like a lot of the machines then have a thing called a wizard mode, and it basically is like the final boss. Like if you're playing a video game, right? You have like that final boss, and that's what wizard mode is. And it's like you get all these like crazy points, and you have like all these different things that you have to. Usually, it's like all the targets are lit up. Everything's lit. Like everything's open. You can try and get everything. But like, yeah, we ran a pinball league, and we would have tournaments once a month. We had a league night. It was originally at a Dooley's, but then when the Propeller arcade opened up, we moved to Propeller. One of the guys who basically started the arcade at Propeller was one of the Pinball League members. So we did the hosting there, and they were always so courteous to us and really great. And obviously once hopefully things are a little bit back to normal, the league can start up again. I'm not a part of it anymore, but it's still something that I am super passionate about and really love. But,
how were you a part of it before, and why did you leave?
So I ran it with my boyfriend at the time, and we broke up. So that is why I kind of stepped away from it a little bit.
Why? Like, you know.
Why did I?
Like, no, yeah. So you broken up. Like it's kind of like, you know, who keeps the kids here?
Yeah, I mean, kind of a little bit. But it was more his baby. Like he has a pinball tattoo. Like he's a huge pinball player. We had 5 machines when we lived together. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely more his baby than mine. Like he loved doing all the like running the tournaments and things like that. I helped more of the,
yeah, but like, so when everyone gets, well, most people get the vaccine, and we, you know, life is back to normal, and then the league is back up, you're just gonna go as a spectator, or?
I'd probably go again. Like we're still friends. We still talk every couple of weeks and everything like that. We're on good terms, and I'm still friends with a lot of the people in the league as well. And so it's just like it's a fun little community.
Okay, you guys need to teach me how you do that thing, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's some cool.
No, not the pinball thing.
Oh,
not the pinball thing. No. Yeah, like how do you do that? I'm like, how? I keep telling people I don't think I'm that grown up enough. Like, if we are together, right, and then we're not together anymore. Like, if I see you in public, I'll be courteous, of course.
Right.
I'm not gonna be a dick, but like, like, don't fucking call me or like, I'm not gonna tell you happy birthday and shit.
Right.
No.
Right.
I mean, I might, but
right.
Actually, you know what? No, I will not.
I will not. I've got a couple exes that I definitely don't talk to that were jerks. But he's a nice guy, and we didn't have any issues. It was just one of those things where like we're not a good fit for each other romantically, but we're fine.
No, I think my thing is this, right? I think my thing is like if I'm with someone and then like I want to do everything humanly possible, like to my capacity and to my capability, I'll do everything I can do to make us work, right?
Right.
But what is obvious that, man, we're not gonna work. Like there's no, to me, we done. Like
right.
Yes. But I guess to me, I'm lucky in that every time like when someone know more, I'm not in that city or town, so I don't have to see the person. But like if I was like say with someone and we lived in Halifax, I don't know what to do.
See, I also like I don't date very much. Like I'm either like I'll hang out with you for a couple weeks and see how it goes and that's about it, or I'm dating you for 4 years. Like I don't do the like, oh, we were like hanging out for a few months. Like, I don't really do that. So I think that also helps because then I don't have that like kind of middle ground, and then you don't know how to like deal with each other in public. Like I don't really have that experience very much. So like this guy and I were together for 4 years, and like I care about him and his family very much, and like he was always a nice guy. So we didn't talk for probably like 6 or 7 months after we broke up, which I think helped because then it gives you that space and time, and then. Yeah, we just like catch up every now and then. Like if I see something that reminds me of him, I'll send it to him and be like, "Oh, hey, I saw this thing. I think you'd like it." Or like, "Merry Christmas. Hope you're doing well. Tell the family I say hi," kind of thing. Like it's not like we're hanging out every day and like anything like that. But we're on good terms. So
okay, no, I need to get to that level. But I mean, I don't have. I guess the other thing is I don't have to really think or worry about that, right? Because like I'm married, I don't need to worry about that. But that's the other thing too, though. Like with kids, we mentioned the kids thing. Like if you guys are not together anymore, right? As long as you have kids, man, you're pretty much together.
Yeah.
Anyway,
together forever.
I sidetrack. So, you mentioned that you play music. So, how did you get into playing music?
Oh my gosh! Like I've played since I was a kid. Like I started playing guitar. I think when I was 9. My dad plays guitar and my uncle also plays, and music was always just a huge part of my life as a kid. Like there are videos, like I found a bunch of childhood videos recently. They are cringy as hell. But like, there's videos of me like forcing my friends to interview me as if I'm a rock star. And like, and then at the end, I'm like, okay, everyone. And then I like sing and perform. And I'm just like, I can't believe I told my friends, like, I can't believe I had friends. Like I would not have been friends with me because that is awful. Like I'd be like, who is this bitch like taking up all the time? So, I started playing guitar, and then in grade 6 or 7, I can't remember, I was in the school band and like in music class in school, and we all needed to pick an instrument, and I picked trumpet. I didn't like it. Yeah, well, because we had to pick either trumpet, clarinet, or flute. And I didn't
Oh,
want to
okay.
do either of the other ones. So I was like, I don't know, I guess trumpet. It seems the easiest. There's only three keys. Like
Is it?
I think, yeah, there's only three keys on a trumpet. So I think that's what,
No,
like,
like, is it the easiest of the three to play?
I don't know if it is, but like I felt
Yeah,
like it was
because
because it's just
yeah.
like you just got
Oh,
three
just three
numbers.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny enough, I'm kind of partial to the trumpet, right? I feel like in the hands of someone that knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
you can make just stunning music. So there's
Oh,
this group called
absolutely.
Sub Motion Orchestra. I don't know if you know of them, but like they have really good songs,
Right.
but their outstanding songs has this guy in their group playing like a trumpet solo.
Right.
Every song they have that has a trumpet solo is like
Oh yeah.
crazy. Anyway, yeah. So you
Yeah.
took the trumpet.
Yeah. And I really didn't, I mean, it wasn't for me. I didn't love it. It was fine. But I just wanted to do something a little bit more fun. So I asked if I could play bass. And they're like, well, if you take classes outside of the classroom, we'll let you, because the teacher couldn't, be like, okay, everyone has three instruments. And then suddenly you have a fourth one that I have to like teach you
Hmm.
how to play. So my dad put me in classes for bass, and I was the only girl in school who played bass. So I would like for school talent shows, I was the bass player, and like for the school band, I was the bass player and everything. So learned those two, and then just through the years, like I did the singer-songwriter thing for a bit when I was like 16 to like 20. Um,
What would your songs be about? The ones you write?
they were all about like the same guy. Like they were all about like one person, and it was all about like him. The funniest thing too is like they were all about how he was a jackass, and like but we were like, I don't know, we were always on and off, and like, but he liked the songs, and I remember like I would go to his family like get-togethers and stuff like that, and he would make me play them and be like, play this one about me. And I'm like, and his grandmother would be there and being like, oh, okay. And it's like about how he's an asshole and like how I hate him and stuff. And she's like, very nice. And so it was mainly about that. But yeah, that did the singer-songwriter thing, got involved a lot in the back scene, or like the background stuff too. Like I was helping organize some festivals and some shows and things like that. And
Which
then moved to
festivals?
Halifax. They were just like small, tiny festivals that like,
Okay.
yeah, they were, I used to go to this place called the Youth House, which I am so grateful for. Like I will say, I'm from Moncton originally, from Moncton, New Brunswick. And I will say that like they had a great all ages scene. Like the ability to see concerts and like smaller shows and give the opportunity to like underage kids to not only see concerts, but like to be able to perform as well, like without having to be at a bar because you couldn't do it at a bar, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so you would have people who were like 16, 15 and stuff like that, putting on their own shows and like also going to see their friends play. That
Mm-hmm.
meant so much to me as a kid. And like, we had this youth house that was really cool. It was like a cool, just like place that you would go to. They had a skate park outside. They would have theme nights and stuff like that. And it was just like a place to go to hang out with people your own age and kind of like in a safe space
Mm-hmm.
because it had social workers that were the staff and stuff like that. So help them put on shows and put on festivals and stuff. And then moved to Halifax and started a couple bands, a couple like cover bands and things like that. And then my own band, which was just kind of called Audrey and the Agents, which was a stupid idea on my part. Like I said, it was Twin Peaks
So
themed.
you are like, is that from a film, movie, or
So
something, or
yeah,
just?
it was based off Twin Peaks, which I thought was like cool at the
Oh,
time. But then everyone just assumed my name was Audrey,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was like, why did I do that? What a stupid idea for a band name. Because now everyone thinks that's my name. It's not my
Yeah,
name. And they'd be
yeah,
like, well,
yeah.
then who's Audrey? And I was like, there's no one named Audrey. And they're like, well, why is your band called that then? And I'm like, I know. Like, oh my God. So did that for a bit. It was kind of like a punky rock band. We did some okay stuff. Like we were only together for a couple years, but we had a couple songs in a movie. We had another one in a TV show and stuff. But it was
Oh,
like,
that's
right?
freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But it's one of those things where like the classic story where the guitar player moves to Toronto. like the rest of the band moves away. So yeah, he was such an integral part of the group and like coming up with all the songs and everything like that, that it just didn't really feel right to keep, like, to just replace him and find someone else. And I think the band had kind of like gone through the motions and kind of done what it needed to do at that point. So we just decided to disband, but then just kind of joined a couple cover bands, and in a Taylor Swift cover band. We played.
What did you call that? What did that band have a name?
So we were called Wildest Dreams, which is a Taylor Swift song from the 1989 album. And yeah, we like played the Marquee one time. So like got to play on that stage in front of like 700 people, which was amazing. And like sold out the Seahorse and the Company House a few times. So
nice.
A lot of fun times. And now that is definitely not happening anymore.
Wait, like how recent was this band playing?
Oh my gosh, the last show that we did for the Wildest Dreams, I think, was maybe 2018.
Okay.
And then so Trevor Murphy, he was on Blackout, right? So Trevor was one of the main guys in Wildest Dreams. Super, super great guy. I mean, like, he does so much for the music industry and like the community in Halifax. And super great friend of mine. And so we had talked about trying to do kind of like a pop divas acoustic show at the Seahorse, and we had that planned for March 2020. So as you can imagine, that did not happen.
No. Did you guys, like, were you rehearsing and stuff for the show before COVID hit?
So we hadn't done too much, but we had met up. Like, I sing on one of his songs for his new project, Sluis. So it's like he started a new Francophone project, which is awesome. I'm French myself, so it's great to see more Francophone artists coming out and people embracing their Francophone heritage and Acadian heritage. And so we were recording some songs for Sluis, and while we were doing
does that mean?
I think it's I think it's a place, like,
okay.
I think it's like a place that he grew up nearby.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, Trevor, if I have that wrong. He's gonna be like, what a terrible friend. Like, why don't you know more information about this? But yeah, so we had been like, we had picked songs and stuff like that we were going to do, and we had hung out a couple times, just me and him. Like, we were still thinking about trying to find maybe someone to do some like light percussion and maybe a bass player or something like that, just to fill it out a bit, but not as like the Wildest Dreams. We're 9 people in that band. Yeah, it's a lot of people, and it's a lot of people to try and get together. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
I don't think we had a single rehearsal where we had everyone. We had I think we maybe had one. So like the real rehearsal was like our sound check. Because that was the only time that we had everyone there. Like, it was wild.
Well, at least they always show up to the day of the on the day of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the important part, is like actually having people there. But it was fun. Like, we had like 3 sets. Well, I guess 2 sets plus the encore. We had like 3 costume changes.
Whoa.
We went pretty hard with it. We had like guests to sing on some of the songs and stuff like that. So it was a fun time.
So you have this, like, you know, outgoing personality. March 2020 happened. Everything was shut down. How I guess, just how has that been for you from that time till now, with work and like your mental health and you know, all that?
I mean, it's been not great. I mean, I think people think I'm a much more outgoing person than I am. I'm sociable and I'm personable, but I'm not. I don't love being out and about. Like, I almost prefer being home a lot. So I actually really liked it at first, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. Like, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to like put real clothes on. I can just hang out. But I think that it's one of those things where it's affecting us more on a like subconscious level than we think. So I'm actually off work right now. I'm on stress leave, and have been since the end of February and will be until about the end of April. So I think it was one of those things where you don't really notice that it's affecting you as much as you think. Like you're trying to put up with it and you're trying to keep going as if things are normal, but they're not. Like I think that that was the biggest thing for me is like being at work and continuing to do like I never got laid off during the pandemic. Like we worked through the entire thing. And I remember like the first week that we found out that everything shut down, I got an email from one of the like higher ups at the organization being like, this is the time that we all need to be as productive as possible. Like every second of every day you have to be working. And I was like, bitch, are you serious? Like there's a people are dying. Like, is this really the time? Like I work in like communications and events. And I was like, I don't think that right now is the time for me to be working as hard as possible on an event that like we can't do in the first place. You know what I mean? And it was just like a wild realization of how some people are just like, oh no, we need to keep going as normal. And it's just like, but we can't. Like it's not normal. Like things are not normal. Like it's not okay. Like I have friends of mine who like, and I say that saying as someone who works at an office, like I've been so lucky that I can, when I kept my job and I am in a work environment where I can work from home. I don't have to work with the public. And I have friends of mine who, you know, work as managers of retail stores or like as servers or bartenders and stuff. And they have to be out and about and like are constantly scared about their health. And like, that's just, I don't know how anyone's supposed to be able to just act as if everything's normal and fine when you're like, your body is constantly under the stress of like, am I going to get a deadly disease at any minute? You know what I mean? So I got to the point where I was just trying so hard to pretend that things were fine and normal, but like I was having a hard time even just sending out an email. Like it took me like 3 days just to send out a like, thanks so much for replying. Like, and then feeling guilty about having those feelings because like I said, like I work from home. Like I spend my time playing fetch with my cat and like taking my breaks to take a nap or like watch TV. Like my life is not hard. My job is not hard right now. So I couldn't understand why I was getting so anxious and like it was so difficult for me to do anything. And then it was like, oh, right, because we're like living through a global pandemic. And I also like, I suffer from depression and anxiety and have for the majority of my life. So it's like, put things into perspective and like made me and forced me to kind of face a lot of the things that I've, put on the back burner over the last, you know, decade or so. Trying really hard to get my sleep underway and like, eating healthier. I've started going to the gym like 5 times a week since November and had been working out just from home before then. Like I never ever thought that I would be a gym person, but I'm like, yeah, like I love doing like a bench press and like I've started doing like deadlifts and stuff and like that's really fun to me and like just trying to do a lot of things that they say are supposed to help your mental health. And I'm just like, I hate that it does. Like, I hate that working out and, like, going to bed early does actually help me. I'm just like can it be something more fun? Like, can't just, like, eating 5 cookies, like, why does that not make me feel any better? Like, why is binge watching my favorite show not something that'll help my anxiety? Like, come on, give me something a little bit more fun here. So, yeah, and, like, also finally went on medication, which also turns out is very helpful. A+ on medication. Thank you, science, for that. So, yeah.
So let's talk about the medication one. What was your reservation about it before?
I don't like being or taking medications to begin with, just like in general. I think I was worried. I've had so many friends who have been on medication and found that it didn't work for them properly. And then they had to like change doses and it would take months for them to find the right dose or the right type of medication. And during those months, it would always be like so difficult for them. I was also worried about some of the side effects that come with a lot of the medications. Just worried that I would be one of those people that just, it doesn't, my body doesn't tolerate it properly. And I think also a lot of it had to do with just like being like, oh yeah, I mean, I have anxiety and depression, but like, I'm not that anxious. Like, I don't need medication or anything, like that kind of mentality of like, oh no, it's fine. Like, yeah, I have mental illness, but it's not that bad. I think that was the big thing, just like the mental hurdle of just admitting that I do need more help than I am willing to admit. And I've been in.
What got you there?
You know what? I was having a conversation with someone and I was just like spiraling. Like I was just like, and why about this? And like also this and like what's going on? And like, well, and they looked at me and they're like, I feel like you need to write a novel every time that you talk. And then you also need to write 2 novels to accompany that one to explain like the like, you know, spirals that you're going through in that. Cause I'm like, oh, and then this is also this, like, I just can't stop. And I was like, oh, is that a thing that not everyone does? Like, is that not normal? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's not normal. And then I had a talk with my therapist and she had said something about like me having a low something. I can't even remember what it is. And I looked it up and it was like, oh, that's found in people with depression. And the next session that we had, I was just like, hey, so like I looked it up and it said that like usually that's found in people with depression. And she was like, yeah, because you have depression. And I was like, I have depression? And she's like, yeah, like it's pretty obvious. I didn't think we had to, like, I thought you knew, like you have depression, you have been depressed for the majority of your life. And I was just like, oh, that explains a lot. Like I always kind of like joked about it. And I think a lot of it is like, I'm the kind of person where I use humor a lot as my like coping mechanism. So like I was worried when I was talking to my actual like medical doctor about going on stress leave because I was worried about whether or not she would actually believe that I was depressed and had anxiety because I was like, oh yeah, but like, you know, it's fine. And like, ha ha ha. And I make a lot of jokes about it. But that's just kind of how I deal and process. But like, yeah, so I just having that talk with that person and then also my therapist and being like, oh, I do actually have depression. Maybe I should actually be on medications finally. That's kind of what, and also I think the pandemic, just like having been like hit so hard, being like, you know what, maybe it's time to just see if something can help. Like see if something will kind of make this a little bit lighter.
Yeah. And I mean, you're using it now and you can tell that it's helping.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's made a huge difference. Like everything from just not spiraling as much to not having constant heart palpitations to like I would like one example, I remember years ago I just had a bad day and it just, you know, when you have one of those days where like everything keeps like going wrong, like I like dropped all my groceries when I was trying to bring them in. And then I put my key in the lock and I broke the key in the lock because it was frozen. Like it was really cold outside. And I just like lost it. I like fell to the ground. I like couldn't stop crying. And like, yeah, that's a stressful situation. But then I was like that for about 4 days.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, that's not a normal like reaction to just having a bad day. Those don't really happen anymore. Like I still get, you know, a low time and sometimes I'll have like a low that isn't necessarily tied to any specific situation or any circumstance or anything like that, but they don't last for days anymore, which is huge. So that's been really helpful for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I really really enjoyed chatting with you. I think we should have a show where we talk about shows that we've seen. That would be so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm gonna let you go, but before I do, there's this. Well, actually, two things. First off, you put up a post with McCain. Let's talk about that one. What's the
Oh, yeah.
story there?
So I put together some tweets about McCain Deep and Delicious Cake, which, like I said, I love to joke around when I'm talking about depression. So I made a post about how it's the best cake to cry into when you're depressed. And they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, we're actually starting a new like marketing campaign. Do you think that we could use your tweet?" And I was like, I am so excited that I get to be the depressed face of McCain Beef Delicious Cake. Because here's the thing. You said you've never really had that cake before, but like the brand of this cake is very much like target audience is like late, like mid-20s to like early 30s women who are having a time. They're like having a hard time. They need to cry into a cake. That is the cake that you buy. That is the brand. Like you're going through a breakup, you like lost your job, like anything like that. You can just eat it out of the pan. It's perfect. So I actually had like several tweets and they've used a couple of them. Like I gave their marketing department so much to work with. And so they reached out and asked if I could be a part of it and then sent me a bunch of swag. So they got me a bunch of free cake and like a deep and delicious hoodie. The best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Like I love this cake so much. Like, I was saying how I found those old childhood videos. Like there are videos of me on my birthday at like 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old eating cake. Like that's the cake that I would have for my birthday.
Oh,
so I was just like, I finally made it. Like this is the pinnacle. Like this is all I've ever wanted in my life is to be an ambassador for Deep and Delicious Cake. So I'm just hoping that they'll like run with it a little bit more. Like maybe get me more involved. I just like McCain, if you see this, please let me be your brand ambassador for real. Like it would mean the world.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, but like finally, I'm gonna let you go on this question. This I don't know why I call it Red Mysterio's mask right behind you.
Oh yeah.
To your left. What's up there? Like, how did you get the mask?
So that one I got from Mexico. I went to Mexico a couple years ago for my 30th birthday, and I really wanted a lucha mask. That was like my goal was to bring one back. I've been a wrestling fan since I was a kid. I don't even know why. Like my parents weren't into it, my brother wasn't into it, but I fucking loved wrestling. Like I had like, problematic dude now, but like I had a Hulk Hogan like life size, well like my size at the time doll that I would wrestle with all the time. I like forced my dad to bring me to wrestling shows and like he brought me to one. I don't know how familiar you are with like 1990s wrestling, but there was a guy named Papa Shango.
Yeah.
And so he was there and like he would come out in like there'd be like smoke and stuff and like he had like a shrunken head. And I freaked out and started crying, like burst out crying. I was like 4 years old, and my dad like had to take me out of the arena and swore that he was never going to bring me to wrestling again. He was like, you're not old enough to be here yet. Like we gotta keep this on the DL. So
yeah, go on.
Yeah, and so I've just been into wrestling for most of my life on and off, and the last few years especially like got really into going to the local shows and supporting more of the local wrestlers and also watching a lot more frequently like WWE and AEW especially now. And so just needed to get a mask and it fits. I've worn it. It's a little bit big,
that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's what we should do on our show. See, the thing people don't get about wrestling is that, like sure, they've like decided who's gonna win, but every other thing is really people hitting themselves. They're actually hitting themselves. And like the thing about wrestling, you have to watch it like a TV show.
Totally.
And each this season, especially for like WWE, starts from one WrestleMania and ends on another WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So take a wrestler, and like that's the character you want to follow, and just follow this guy's journey or this
Totally.
girl's journey, and that's how you watch wrestling. Forget, like, wrestling is some of the best writing on TV right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not like totally.
Oh yeah,
Oh
and
man.
like I love it. It's basically drag. It's like drag, and you know, you have the theatrics, you have the different costumes. They come out to different music. They also have their own personas. There's
Yep.
like, you know, a lot of fights between people that are like not necessarily physical, but just like the emotional drama that's going on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
I
yes.
love the storylines more than the wrestling sometimes.
Right? I don't. You know, I'm so, like, if I record the show, I might forward to the actual match.
Yeah.
But like the when they're dissing each other, when they're
yeah.
saying, "Look at the jumbotron," I need to watch that. That is what
Totally.
you're watching. Cause like
Yeah.
the stories. Oh
Yeah.
man, we
If
really
wrestling can
should
make
talk
you cry,
about doing this.
if wrestling
And
can make you cry,
analyzing,
that's how I know
um,
they did their job.
Yeah, I still watch Raw every Monday. So
Nice. Nice.
okay. I'm having too much fun. This is illegal. Thanks for telling me that pinball is illegal. I didn't know that. I need to find a documentary about that, because how is this thing not a TV show?
I know.
There's a TV show about it's called The Deuce. It's kind of like 60s, 70s, 80s New York.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and like I think pinball is in there somewhere, because some of these guys, they had like a video slot porn place where you go to, and it's the same
Right.
thing, and they were actually using that to launder money. So completely makes sense why it
Yeah.
is. I don't know they didn't even talk about that. Yeah, anyway. Oh man, Chantal, it's always nice to talk to you.
Yeah,
And
you too.
I'm gonna sit back and think, because like, you know, we kind of have the sensibilities about TV shows and wrestling too. So
Yeah.
it would be nice to, like, you know, every once in a week just sit down and chat about TV shows and
Yeah. I
put
love
it
pop
out there.
culture. I love talking about pop culture.
Oh man, thank you so much for coming to the
Thank
sanctuary
you.
today. I had a wonderful time, and we should do this again soon.
Yeah, me too. Great time. Thank you again for asking me.